You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. The trial for the man accused of killing a 39-year-old Marshall woman will not move forward.
71-year-old Jose Luis Gonzalez pleaded no contest to a charge of first-degree intentional homicide today, just as jury selection for his trial was about to get underway. The charge stems from the killing of Dora Gonzalez Zarate. Law enforcement officers found her with a gunshot wound in her head on May 24, 2022. A criminal complaint alleges the two were in a romantic relationship that she was trying to get out of. Gonzalez's sentencing hearing is scheduled for 9:30 the morning of January 13th.
New Lisbon police are providing an update on the triple homicide that happened at the end of last month. Chief of Police Kyle Walker says the FBI is helping his department look for Virgil Thew. His last confirmed location was near Orange and McEwen Roads in Lisbon Township on New Year's Day. Local law enforcement has recovered the last known vehicle Thew had. Thew currently has a warrant out for 3 counts of first-degree intentional homicide stemming from the deaths of a woman and 2 children last Monday. Thew is considered armed and dangerous, so if you see him, call 911. We also want to share a GoFundMe created for the family of the 13-year-old victim, Skyla. Funds will go towards Skyla's funeral services and floral arrangements. You can donate online. The GoFundMe has currently raised just over $3,000 of its $10,000 goal.
And breaking news nationally, the U.S. is reporting the first human death from bird flu. The person was from Louisiana and was 65 with underlying medical conditions. They were sent to the hospital after exposure to backyard and wild birds. Health officials say no other human cases are linked to this infection. The strain this person died from is circulating in wild birds and poultry. That's different than the one that we're seeing in dairy cattle. It comes a week after health officials in our state announced they found a case of bird flu in a poultry flock.
Let's get a look now at your first morning forecast. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano joins us now to tell us it's cold.
Yeah, and there's not going to be much change in the temperatures, and there's also not going to be a ton of change precipitation-wise. It's just going to continue to be cold and dry. Now, looking at the current conditions, 23 degrees in Madison, mostly around 23, 24 degrees in Dane County. Our entire area did get up into the 20s, which is an improvement over the weekend where a lot of areas saw highs in the teens. But if we take a look at the current visible cloud track, we are still seeing some clouds hang around for areas south and east of Madison. Further north and west, it is very sunny right now, and our entire area is expected to see clear skies. We also are going to remain dry. We had those flurries out near Lake Michigan, near Milwaukee and southeast Wisconsin, but our area has been dry, and that's going to continue as we'll see clear skies this evening, but then we'll see clouds develop later tonight into Tuesday morning, and then we're going to see more cloud cover for the day on Tuesday. So looking at the evening forecast, we'll see clear skies, temperatures dropping into the teens, and overnight lows could drop into the single digits, but otherwise we'll see lows around 10 to 12 degrees. Now I'll talk more in detail about temperatures going forward and give you our next chance of snow, all coming up a little bit later.
Jacob, thank you. It was a dry end to 2024, and that trend continues into the new year.
It has been an unusually dry winter. Where's all the snow? I don't know. Well, Jalen Banks joins us live from Madison's west side on how the lack of snow this winter is actually affecting local businesses. Jalen?
Brady, Maddie, to answer that question, I'm looking around and I have no idea. That trend continues. There's just no snow. For us, that makes our commutes and our jobs easier. But if you're a snow removal or landscaping company, it's been a pretty rough winter. No snow, no work. Our First Warn Weather team shares with me this winter we've had about 9.4 inches of snow, and our average is nearly double that. And speaking with one local business owner, they're feeling the impacts from the lack of snow.
By us not getting no snow, it really goes against what we prep and prepare for, and it's really hard to keep employment guys on board to fulfill those roles when it does snow, because if we're only getting 1 or 2 snows in a season or in a month, that really hurts the foundation of what we built.
Jackson also shares with me the preparation for the winter season starts several months ahead of time. Now tonight at 5, we'll hear more from Jackson on how this dry winter has caused so many issues for his business. For now, reporting live on Madison's west side, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Jalen. The sound of that machinery kind of woke me
I
up.
know.
Hello. Well, UW-Madison is looking for participants to join a study testing how vaping affects heart and lung health.
This comes after the university got a $5.7 million grant for the research. Our Meryl Hubbard tells us why this study stands out.
Previous research tells us the physical effects of vaping, but this study will zoom in on people who vape for multiple years.
What's really special about this study is that it's the largest study to date with the most comprehensive testing of the heart, the blood vessels, and the lungs over a long period of time.
Researchers are looking for more than 350 adults who vape regularly to complete this 3-year-long study. They also need around 200 non-vapers for the control variable. Doctors and nurses will regularly check in with these participants, monitoring their lung, heart, and blood vessel health over the years. With vaping being a relatively new method of smoking, there's not much research on the long-term effects it can have on people's health. But this study will help find some of those answers.
You can go on the internet and find huge advocates that everyone should switch from smoking to vaping, or no one should ever vape, it's the worst thing in the world. And the fact of the matter is, we just don't know. And that's why we do the research.
Participants will get up to $625 and individualized test results for completing the study.
Our goal, of course, is to have a smoke-free, tobacco-free, nicotine-free world, but that's a bit of a dream, and we want to help people get to that in as healthy a way as possible.
If you want to join in on the study, you can enroll on myvapecheck.com. Reporting on Madison's West Side, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Meryl, thank you. For some Wisconsinites, the start of a new year means a month of no drinking as they participate in Dry January.
It's not all that's on people's minds this new year. Just last week, the U.S. Surgeon General issued a warning saying alcohol is linked to cancer. He also called for adding a label to the packaging of alcoholic beverages, including that it's linked to cancer, similar to the ones we see on smoking on cigarette packages. If that warning has got you thinking about how to cut back on drinking, a researcher with the American Society of Clinical Oncology has some advice.
Thinking through what are the triggers. Like many people, it's like, well, when I watch a football game, I drink beer. Well, how can we break that association? Or when I eat pizza, I always have whatever. If you mainly are socializing at the bar, can you socialize outside the bar? That kind of thing. So thinking through both just quantity, but also psychological and social things.
LeConte says the risk is the same for hard liquor and things like beer and wine. One cocktail could have multiple servings in it versus a glass of beer is just one.
We also want to emphasize, if you believe you have a problem with drinking, not to quit cold turkey. Instead, talk with your doctor about treatment for alcohol addiction. Next on Live at 4, what researchers predict the future will look like for Wisconsin's population.
Plus, how President Biden is giving more Social Security benefits to Americans before he leaves office. Welcome back. Members of Congress met at the Capitol today to certify the 2024 election results. The House chamber was cordial and calm as the Electoral College votes were being counted. And in a bipartisan moment, the entire chamber stood and clapped when it was announced the joint session was dissolved. It's a very different scene than the one we saw 4 years ago when Congress gathered to certify President Biden's victory over Trump. Speaking on the Senate floor today, State Democrat leader Chuck Schumer urged his colleagues not to forget.
On that day, lawlessness and mob violence sought to bring democracy to its knees. Staff and members of Congress hid beneath desks, barricaded the doors of their offices. Rioters smashed windows and ransacked offices and broke into the Senate and House chambers. Insurrectionists waved Confederate flags and donned Nazi symbols.
The roughly 1,500 people accused of storming the Capitol that day are waiting to see if Trump fulfills his promise to pardon them or commute their sentences. The Trump transition team has not disclosed how it plans to handle the task of reviewing pardons for the defendants.
President-elect Trump's attorneys are asking a New York judge to delay his sentencing in the criminal election interference case that's scheduled to happen at the end of the week. Trump plans to appeal a ruling from Justice Juan Merchan upholding his criminal conviction on 34 felony charges of falsifying business records as part of a scheme to influence the 2016 election. Trump's attorneys say their appeal should automatically pause proceedings and that if it doesn't, Merchan should grant one anyway. Their filing also indicates they'll file a separate lawsuit to prevent sentencing.
Nearly 3 million people will receive pensions for their time as public employees. The president signing a bill Sunday that boosts Social Security payments for current and former public employees. The Social Security Fairness Act rescinds 2 provisions that limited Social Security benefits for recipients if they got retirement payments from other sources. It will also give the pensions to those workers' surviving spouses and family members if they died. The president says the average monthly increase in payments is around $360.
With exactly 2 weeks left in office, President Joe Biden also decided to ban some offshore drilling in a way that could be hard for President-elect Trump to undo. An announcement from the White House today says Biden is permanently banning future offshore oil and gas development in parts of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The executive order will invoke the 1953 Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act. The law gives presidents broad authority to withdraw federal waters from future oil and gas leasing and development, but it does not give them explicit authority to revoke the action.
Let's get a look now at your first warm forecast. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano joins us from the warm studio now instead of the cold outside. Hey, Jacob.
Yeah, it is definitely warmer in here, but honestly, I feel like I've gotten kind of used to this cold out there, and I can't explain it, but it didn't feel all that bad. Now, it does help that the temperatures were about 10 degrees warmer, at least than they were during the afternoon hours this past weekend. So this has been one of the warmer days over the last couple, but for the most part, we're going to see cold temperatures continue. We also are going to see dry conditions through at least Thursday. We do have a chance of snow Friday and again on Sunday. So looking at the forecast for tonight, we'll see clear skies in the evening, but clouds will increase overnight. We'll see mostly cloudy skies during the morning. Lows will drop into the lower teens, upper single digits. Pretty cold morning, but also pretty normally cold morning. And for tomorrow, similar temperatures to today. We'll have highs in the middle 20s, again, mostly cloudy skies. And the temperatures, they're going to fluctuate a little bit, but for the most part, it's going to feel very January-like. Upper 20s for the weekend, which is very close to normal. We could be back in the teens for highs by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So there will be some fluctuation, but for the most part, it's going to stay cold. Now, current radar is completely dry, including southeastern Wisconsin, as those flurries from the lake effect snow have cleared out. And the entire system that impacted a good chunk of the United States, it's still impacting portions of the mid-Atlantic, but it has really died out over the last 12 to 24 hours. Now, looking at the snow depth, though, you can see where that system tracked. A lot of snow to the south of us, including a lot of Kansas City, St. Louis, Cincinnati. Meanwhile, we're in what's called a snow hole where we have not had any systems move across the area. Madison, Minneapolis, further west of Sioux Falls, no snow on the ground, and there's not going to be a lot of change in that department as we're going to continue to be dry. So really for the next four days, we're going to be just seeing on and off cloud cover. Looks like we'll see more sunshine for Thursday. But tomorrow and Wednesday, we'll see a decent amount of cloud cover. And then as we get towards Thursday evening, look off to the northwest. This system will track across the United States. The heaviest will stay south, but we will see kind of some passing snow showers that could produce about an inch of snow. But for the most part, this is still expected to be pretty light. That's during the morning on Friday. And we could continue to see some lingering showers for Saturday or Friday night into early Saturday. But for the most part, it's not going to produce a dramatic amount of accumulation. We'll see little to none. That's what's expected at this point. And looking specifically at the snow chances, again, a little bit of an increase for Friday and a little bit of an increase for next Sunday as well. But in general, it's going to continue to be cold and there's going to continue to be little snow on the ground.
Thank you, Jacob. The Department of Administration expects Wisconsin's population to be flat through 2030 before it declines in the next 2 decades.
It comes as the state's birth rate is falling and despite a growing population here in Dane County. To talk about the implications of this shift, we spoke with Dale Knapp, the Director of Research at the Wisconsin Counties Association.
You know, I think the top line number that Wisconsin's population is essentially going to be flat in 2030 compared to 2020 sort of masks what's really going on, you know, in that what we're looking at, even though statewide there's very little change in population, we're going to see 53 counties are expected to see a decline in population. So 53 out of 72 counties are expected to see a decline. That number jumps to about 56 in the following decade. So the worker shortages that we're facing now is, given these projections, it looks like it's not only going to continue to get, but to get much worse. And again, when you go to some of these individual counties, they're projecting declines of 15% or more in 16 counties. And so in those areas, you're going to see a dramatic decline in the workforce, and worker shortages just really ramp up.
And one of the big changes is that the fertility rate is going down. So in the report, it looked like a pretty dramatic drop decade to decade. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Is it a really dramatic change?
Well, it is. And so, and really this has been going on since 2007, essentially. We've had declining births in this state in every year but two since 2007. And you know, when DOA did these projections in 2013 after the 2010 census, they were expecting birth rates to begin to tick up in 2018, 2019, et cetera. And they've never done that. They've continued to decline. But that's one of the big reasons for not only this expected decline in population in this decade, but it's a reason, if this continues, we're going to see continued declines. And this is so important because Wisconsin does not have a lot of in-migration and out-migration. We have some, but not as much as many other states. And so the decline in birth rates today, as this number keeps shrinking, that's our workforce in 20, 30, and 40 years. And so when you see this, persistent decline, that's an indication that our workforce is going to continue to decline for another 30 or 40 years unless we do something about bringing more people into the state via migration.
Well, Dale, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and your expertise.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And coming up on Live at 4, we're looking ahead to Winter Restaurant Week.
Ooh, Josh Spreiter sits down with Madison's Magazine's editor to talk about the celebration in the 608. We'll be right back. In the 608, we're looking ahead to Madison Restaurant Week coming up later this month.
Josh Sprider sat down with Madison Magazine editor Andy Bailing to learn more.
Well, it is the new year. Happy New Year, Andy Bailing.
Happy New Year.
Editor of Madison Magazine. And I always love this time of the year because we are into January. You know, Winter Restaurant Week is practically here.
It's practically here. January 19th through the 24th. We always send out save the dates because it is a fun week to go out and support local restaurants during a time that is hard. It's their seasonal slow season. So
we're post holidays now, and now's the time to get out and support local. And there is a plethora of options this year, which is super exciting for you guys.
There is. Our subscribers that have their latest issue handy, or people that pick it up on newsstands, there's a full list of all over 40 participating restaurants this year, which is the most we've had since pre-COVID. So,
it's like we're getting back to normal.
Yes, it does feel like that, and Restaurant Week continues to be a really fun time for restaurants to kind of highlight their menus, that they're excited about this winter, and for diners to find a new place that they can go out to eat. And it's a three-course meals starting at $30, and it's both lunch and dinner menus.
And this is an opportunity for people to try something new. I know we always have our favorites around here. We're lucky to have so many favorites, but I love that there's always something new to try.
Yes, there is. In this list, it's a lot of restaurants you've heard their names before. Heritage Tavern, a lot Portobello, a lot of really great restaurants, but then some newcomers too. I want to try Amar Peru in Madison. I don't know if you've been there yet.
I've heard good things.
Yep, Amar Peru is on the list. The Stuffed Olive, a lot of new names that I got to get out there and try some of these places too.
Well, and with Restaurant Week, they're going to put their very best out there too. So this is going to be a great opportunity.
They do, yes, it is. They do put their best foot forward because they know they're seeing a lot of new diners that week. But it's also a three-course menu, so you get to try an appetizer, a main, and a dessert. So it's a full meal that you kind of get a taste of everything.
That's the way to do it.
Yes.
So something else new, you guys are unveiling a mascot.
We are. We're so excited. Restaurant Week we're 19 years old.
Wow.
And this is a huge rebrand for us. So we're introducing Forky. He is our new Restaurant Week mascot.
Look at him.
We're kind of obsessed with him, but you'll see him on social and on air during Restaurant Week.
You know, obviously we've been doing this for a while, but Restaurant Week is so critical for these local businesses because this is their big game. This is where they try to get new folks out, and without the support of our Madisonians, they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing.
Agreed. And Restaurant Week really, some restaurants tell us it's the busiest week for them in the winter, which is so great to hear when it is really hard for restaurants that a good week could mean everything for a restaurant to stay in business. And we always, it's always sad to see some restaurants have to close their doors, and for us to be able to host a program and partner with these restaurants on a week that means great things for them and great things for the diners is a really great thing.
And then to see some new options, try something new. Maybe you'll have a new favorite for 2025.
Exactly. Yes. We want to convert as many Madisonians into foodies as we can.
All right. Hit us with the dates one more time, Andy.
January 19th through the 24th.
And we'll be having plenty of coverage leading up to that as well.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to see where you go.
Happy eating, happy New Year, happy all things that we like right here in the 608, right?
Yes, you too.
Thanks, Andy.
And happy birthday, Forky.
Yes, happy birthday, Forky. Welcome to the world.
Thanks, Josh. We'll be right back.
watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Oh, they're having a nice day.
Freaky.
Not
Freaky.
a Goose fan,
Oh,
huh?
that one went. Did you see him? His butt went up and his head went down.
He's looking for some
there they go.
snacks. It's restaurant week for the geese, too.
It is.
Yeah, you know.
Introduce them to Forky.
They are enjoying the winter weather out there. It feels like winter out there.
It does. And the weather words are snow drought continues.
Yeah, no snow really, Jacob.
Yeah, whenever I see those ducks on the pond, I always just, feel even colder. Just the idea of, jumping in water in this temperature, it obviously, they're different species, but still, it just makes me feel extra cold. But anyway, looking at the current temperature, 23 degrees. We are seeing mostly sunny skies now here in Madison as those clouds continue to push out of the area. Still seeing some cloud cover for those of you in Janesville and to the east of Madison towards Milwaukee, but everyone is expected to see clear skies during the evening at some point. Current temperatures mostly in the 20s. We also are dealing with a little bit of wind. The wind not too bad, but some areas up around 10 to 12 miles per hour. So it is causing some wind chills to feel a little bit colder, mostly in the teens across the area. But actual temperatures will drop not only into the teens, but possibly into the single digits tonight. Looking at the current radar, we had those snow showers due to lake effect snow further south and east, but they have cleared out. And we're not expecting any precipitation at all for our area. And that has been the case for much of the day, and it's going to continue even beyond just tonight. So I'll talk more in detail about the cold forecast and our next chance of snow coming up a little bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. A fisherman is dead in Marquette County after falling through the ice on a UTV.
This was on Lawrence Lake in the township of Westfield. The Marquette County Sheriff's Department says at about 10 in the morning, emergency crews responded to the lake. Despite efforts to save the person's life, they died at the scene. The sheriff's office is not releasing the person's name until they reach the family. They'll release more details as the investigation into the death continues.
A conservative candidate looking to replace outgoing state Supreme Court Justice Ann Walsh Bradley is defending January 6th rioters.
In an appearance on iHeartRadio's The Vicki McKenna Show last week, former Wisconsin AG Brad Schimmel discussed what he sees as problems within the state Supreme Court and other areas of government. While speaking, he referred to instances of, quote, lawfare manipulation, referring to the criminal conviction of President-elect Donald Trump in New York and the cases against January 6th defendants.
The New York City district where President Trump was prosecuted, there was no way any jury was going to rule anything other than he's guilty of whatever you can give him, whatever charge you give them. The same thing for these January 6th defendants who were all prosecuted in the Washington, D.C. district, which is overwhelmingly liberal. This part of the manipulation is to go to districts like that. They would never take their prosecution in a district where you had a fair shot as a defendant.
Also running for state Supreme Court, liberal Dane County Circuit Judge Susan Crawford. Tomorrow is the last day for candidates to file nomination papers, declarations of candidacy, and campaign registration statements. So we'll know by Wednesday for sure all of the candidates in the race.
And today marks 4 years since the violent mob of Trump supporters broke into the Capitol in an attempt to stop Congress from certifying Joe Biden's victory.
Now we're on the heels of a second Trump win. Arman Rahman spoke to a political expert on what the insurrection could mean going forward.
Maddie and Brady, the 4th anniversary of the Capitol insurrection comes at a political intersection. The second certification of Donald Trump as president, the beginning of his second term, and his promise to pardon those charged with crimes related to the Capitol attack 4 years ago. Quote, on day one. Roughly 1,600 people have been charged in nearly all 50 states. UW-Madison political expert Howard Schraber says he sees no reason for Trump not to keep his promise and pardon the vast majority, if not all the defendants, which he says sets a dangerous precedent.
It may open a door for more people to participate in crimes of this kind in the future, as long as they're reasonably sure their guy will win. The classic scenario of a corrupt use of the pardon power is go do this thing for me and don't worry, I'll pardon you afterwards.
11 men charged in the attack are from Wisconsin. But as Schwaber tells me, some of Trump's fake electors in Wisconsin are facing state charges. Find out how a pardon from the president would affect them tonight at 6.
Thank you, Arman. To Wall Street, where U.S. stocks are recovering from their holiday season slide. The Dow lost 26, but the Nasdaq gained 243, and the S&P 500 is up 33.
Governor Tony Evers is making plans to allow Wisconsin voters to directly vote on new laws and constitutional amendments in the ballot box. This proposal mirrors nearly 20 other states and would allow Wisconsinites to submit petitions to the Wisconsin Elections Commission and, with enough signatures, place a referendum question on the ballot. Evers is expected to place this measure in the upcoming budget address to the legislature in February. However, Evers placed a similar issue in his budget in 2022, which was rejected by Republicans. Wisconsin State Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu plans to reject this issue in a post on X, stating, quote, "The budget should be a budget, not a policy document. Instead of proposing a laundry list of policy items, Governor Evers should be focusing his effort on using the state surplus to address rising costs."
Well, coming up on Live at 4, we have the Loper Report.
Yay! We take a look at some of the movies honored at this year's Golden Globe Awards, whether they're worth seeing when we come back.
I have some thoughts too, so you don't want to miss that.
Yes, he does.
On the next Live at 4, the best diet for disease prevention and the simple task that can help you fight depression.
Dr. Jeff Potoff joins us in studio with a breakdown to set you up for a healthy 2025.
Well, one movie took a while, but finally ascended to the throne at the box office.
Will Loper has more on why Mufasa came roaring back in this week's Loper Report.
Well, it only took 3 weeks, but Mufasa is finally king at the box office over Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Meanwhile, award season is in full swing, with the Golden Globes this past weekend and the Critics' Choice Awards next weekend. Here's 2 films vying for accolades. Vermiglio is an Italian foreign language film set in the waning days of World War II, where a family living in the remote Italian Alps takes in a soldier who falls in love with the oldest daughter. The film is sparse and deliberately paced to match the lives of its characters. But the story unfolds with no less suspense because of it, as plot revelations come to light. Vermiglio is one of the best of the year and is worth seeing. The winner of this year's Golden Globe Best Drama Film is The Brutalist, opening wide in the coming weeks.
Tell me, why is an accomplished foreign architect shoveling coal here in Philadelphia?
Adrian Brody plays Hungarian architect Laszlo Toth, who survives the Holocaust and comes to America, where he's commissioned to build a grand chapel by a wealthy businessman played by Guy Pearce.
What do you think?
It's unusual, even for you.
The film feels its 3-hour-plus running time most in the beginning, but the pace picks up in its second half and becomes a deep study in legacy and not compromising on your principles. It's a singular vision brought to life by director Brady Corbet. For those willing to sit through its running time, The Brutalist is a rewarding watch. For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
Adrian Brody won a Golden Globe for that movie.
Good for him.
Yeah.
And as promised, Brady's review.
Well, did you watch the show?
I
The
did.
Golden Globes?
I
What
did.
was your favorite part?
I wasn't super zoned into all of it, but I was there for any and all Wicked content.
So, and it won the best box office achievement. So, were you cheering for it?
Yeah,
Did you sing along with the things?
I always do.
Okay, good.
Yes.
There they
There
are.
they are.
There they are.
That's all.
Holding space.
They're holding space.
Holding space.
Most of the people I just went, and who is that again?
Well, my favorite part, you just saw her, Demi Moore. This was her first big acting award, and someone had told her she was going to just be a certain kind of actress and not win anything. So she gave a speech, and it was really cool. I have a quote. She said, "I had a woman say to me, just know you will never be enough, but you can know the value of your worth if you just put down the measuring stick." What a freeing thought. We always feel like we have to compare ourselves to everyone else and just feel value in yourself and
I agree, and that was a fantastic speech.
Yeah.
And you should go into entertainment journalism.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, if I get to go to parties like this.
I know.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. I was like, what if you just got to do this as your job?
Yeah. I love movies, so who knows?
Fancy.
Who knows? Yeah.
Well,
if I
those were
disappear,
Brady's
you'll know
thoughts.
why. Yeah, I have more of them, so email me if you want to know about my favorite movies. Next on Live at 4, we'll introduce you to News 3 Now's newest addition to our anchor team.
Yay! Sarah Carlson joins us when we come back.
We are taking a live look at the Carter Center in Atlanta, Georgia, where former President Jimmy Carter is lying in repose. Tomorrow, his remains will be flown to D.C. ahead of a national day of mourning and funeral on Thursday.
We have a special guest on Live at 4 today, if she can even be called a guest.
Yeah, I think you know her. Sarah Carlson has been a familiar face here on News 3 before, and now starting next week, she'll be on your screens once again, anchoring our 6 and 10 newscasts along with Eric Franke. Hey, thanks for being back with us.
You can't thank me. I work here now.
What's it? She got her badge, so now
she got her badge, and she's matching us. This was unintentional, but a good omen.
Very much so, and I have a badge. I can't go back anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's a thrill, and it feels surreal to me, honestly. I'm so happy to be back.
Was stepping through the doors today, was it just like, oh wow, I'm home? Are you excited to get back into doing this?
Big time, yeah. I was ready to be on the anchor desk and do all of those things, but I need to take a little bit of time. It's been 10, 11 years, and so I'm going to do a little practicing when we're not live. And but it's been great to get to know more people, all you included. We got to chat, and just a lovely group.
We did a lot of chatting.
We did. And people who like to chat in news are quite common.
Absolutely. Tell us about your career in news and what brought you back to news after so long, and back to News 3.
Well, how long do you have?
The rest of the show is just us gabbing.
So I actually started, I was a student at UW, an intern at 27. We're going to talk about the competition here. That was and then I went to lacrosse, and I was back at 27, both mornings and evenings. I got out and I worked at SSM Health and PR. I was on 15 in the mornings, and then I was at Channel 3. My favorite station.
Oh, yes.
It really was, anchoring next to Eric Franke at 6 and 10. Unfortunately, I had been diagnosed with epilepsy. That's something that I talk about a lot. I'm a big advocate, and my doctors, none of the stations, but my doctors finally said, you need to get a new job. Something more slow-paced, something a little bit more manageable, and I couldn't find work here. So I also talk a lot about the stigma that epilepsy has, really, for people who suffer from it. Ended up moving to the Chicagoland area, found a doctor there, kind of got my bearings, and I'm seizure-free 4 years.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you. It's been huge. And there are so many people who aren't. So that's why I still work a lot on behalf of them. But I'm back here where I started. So epilepsy took this job from me, and I have it back. I never thought in a million years that would happen.
What an interesting bookend to that particular journey, and now opening a new book. For you.
Very much so,
You've spent a lot of time spreading awareness about epilepsy, and is that something that you're going to continue to be passionate about as you step into this new role?
Absolutely. So I've worked with and worked for a short time, the Epilepsy Foundation of Wisconsin, still on the board. I was voted back on the board, and I'll be doing as much as I can to raise awareness, advocacy, fundraising, you name it. We will have lots of events, and we'll be talking about it as much as I can.
And you were telling us this morning, sorry to expose you, that you always said, I don't want to get back into news. And then you came and said, that was a total lie.
I'm glad you're calling me out live here, because it's very true. And I've been telling a lot of people lately, they're like, didn't you say you didn't want to do that again? And I say, well, I had to lie to myself because I wanted to so badly that if I said, well, sure I do, it would have felt hard to admit. So I lied to myself, and then I just sort of said, no, that was a different me. That was a different time. No, this is me. This is really feeling like I'm back at home doing what I should be doing, and I'm excited.
Before we go, any fun tidbits about you? Any fun hobbies? What are you streaming?
Good question. I'm a runner, like a crazy runner, and so I do it when it's too cold. I do it when it's too hot.
Did you run today?
No, but I did yesterday.
Okay.
I know, a little too
cold.
Chilly. So I'm tough. So
I
mean, I went too long on about the running, but I do tend to talk a lot about that. That's my big
good.
gig. Yeah, and I've got kids who are aging now. I mean, when I was here last time, they were teeny, and I've got a 17 and 19-year-old. So that's my life.
Very good. We are so happy to have you back.
Thank you.
We're
Thank you
excited.
for having me on set too.
We'll see you on TV next week, right?
Yep, starting next Monday, so a week from now with Eric on the 6 and 10.
All right.
We can't wait.
Good.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Well, Jacob, I wouldn't say it's great running weather unless you're Sarah, of course.
Yeah, no, it's going to continue to be cold. In fact, the temperatures aren't going to change much at all, and we're also going to continue to see pretty dry weather, at least through Thursday, with those cold temperatures for the extended forecast going even beyond just the next 10 days. We do have a chance of snow Friday and again on Sunday, but we're not expecting a ton of accumulation either days. So this evening, we'll see clear skies, low temperatures will be in the teens. Then we're going to see cloudy skies later tonight into Tuesday morning, with low temperatures possibly in the single digits for a few locations, so a cold night. But then tomorrow will be very similar to today. Temperature-wise, we'll see highs in the 20s. More clouds are expected, and we're seeing clear skies right now. But overall, we aren't going to continue to see clear skies, despite the fact that we're not going to see a lot of snowfall. So looking at the current snow depth, you can see where that system tracked across the United States. We are in a snow hole from Madison to Minneapolis, further west towards Sioux Falls as well. No snow on the ground at this time, and there's likely not going to be additional snowfall for the most part. Again, we have that chance of snow Friday, but there's not expected to be a lot of accumulation. That's the case for Sunday as well. And as we look at the temperature, highs will consistently be in the teens to 20s. We could see a few days get up into the lower 30s, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty close to normal for this time of the year, which is the normal high is 28 degrees, so right on that money for a lot of the 10-day forecast. So expect very January-like temperatures to continue.
We have breaking news. A judge is denying Trump's request to indefinitely postpone this week's sentencing in his criminal election interference case.
Last week, Justice Juan Merchan upheld President-elect Trump's criminal conviction on 34 felony charges of falsifying business records as part of a scheme to influence the 2016 election. Despite Merchan's decision today, Trump can still ask the appeals court to intervene and order a stay or pause. Otherwise, he'll be sentenced a little more than a week before his inauguration, when he becomes the first convicted felon to become president. We'll be right back.
The verdict is going to be November 5th by the
Tomorrow on Live at 4, Dr. Jeff Potthoff joins us to talk about the best diet for wellness and disease prevention. And later on News 3 Now at 6, what Governor Tony Evers has said about his chances he'll run for re-election and what the state budget has to do with it. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We'll see you back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.